this point, I just open the slide and we can start with the distribution 2.0, sustainable intermediation, the post-pandemic era, together with Amit.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you, Enzo. So, at HyperGuest, we have been, in our experience, dealing with distribution from the technology side, also known as the connectivity. And these are obviously unusual time. We are in constant communication with hoteliers, property managers, and travel providers from all over the world, trying to think what is post-pandemic distribution looking like? What are some of the issues? And on the one hand, obviously, we have tremendous challenges in the industry, but at the same time, it's a chance to look at the future a bit more strategically, think more focusing on bottom line, focusing more on how things can work better in face of the new situation as we evolve, what should be in the technology stack for hoteliers and so on. So if we are looking at what we coming out of this conversation, this vision of what makes a sustainable distribution technology model, and what are some of the issues that could be really putting the hotels in a great position to address the current opportunities, is basically to look at the intermediation in a different way, to expect different things from it, and to rethink what we come to take for granted so far as limitations. They don't have to have those limitations. So we look at it in those three different ways. We need to talk about open business, being open for business, ready to do business, be free, not having barriers, just being able to plug and sell when you have finding new opportunities or new technologies are coming around. Also moving from a model that's really old world of always thinking about contracting, reaching out, but other, the way many industries have moved to open marketplace, and that proven itself very well. It's just a hotel can say, okay, these are my rate, availabilities, amenities, these are the rules of the game, and anybody can buy as long as I am in a secure position to do business in this way, and therefore I can find new partners, and then I can upgrade my relationship with them over time. This is a much more innovative approach for the hotels, or allows them to innovate with distribution. Another aspect is the aspect of speed, agility, being fast to innovate. So we heard today a lot about hotels being able to reclaim distribution, that they have given it away to others who are doing a pretty good job. But if you want to reclaim, you're going to try new things. And I'll just give you one example of a hotel we're working with, saying, okay, we are close to the airport, and we'd like to introduce hourly based reservations in partnership with the actual airport facility. Great, this is a great idea. Makes sense for the travelers, makes sense for the airport to give service, and makes us bring more business and differentiation for the hotel. Now they come to the connectivity and technology piece, and what do they hear? Oh, you have a new connectivity requirement. This will take about 1 year, and you need to bring other 100 hotels who need the same kind of technology. So obviously you understand, it's obvious that this is not how innovation takes place. Innovation means that you try things, you fail fast, or you succeed fast. So that's the next aspect, is just being agile and being more on the bottom line. I think that over the years, the industry has used a middleman model extensively. Nowadays, one of the advantages is actually to go direct, and not just introduce new partnership and channels, but also when you have a promotion, when you have new innovative ideas like rate plans and so on, have full control to do that with ease and with safety. And that, of course, is where it's all about. Is just taking the cost of distribution down. That's going to be essential in the post-pandemic era, if that's the way to look at it. So when we think about direct, and selling direct has been a holy grail in the past few years already, but it always meant just go to the hotel website, go to the booking engine, get the hotel in there, and of course the hotel supposedly doesn't have to pay. anyone. But then you realize that actually just to get the user into the website, there's a whole cost model just to do that. When you start to calculate what that means, that actually that might not be expensive. But when you think about it, selling direct is not just to the hotel website. It's basically making your product well positioned to be sold directly in many different locations. So you can sell direct in an agency's feed. We can sell direct on meta searches. You can sell direct on emerging and specialist OTAs. And when you're working with corporations, we need to expand how we look at that concept of direct sales in this way as the technology makes that possible. We talked today about how is meta search evolving, and I think that's a clear distribution. If you have to switch the things around and look at it from the consumer standpoint, they really can't tell the difference if they are now looking at the results on a Google, on a search engine, on a recommendation site, or on a pure meta search. For them, it's a list of prices, great deals, pictures they can convert, they can buy, and so the line is the consumer really doesn't know that behind the scene there is one model or another. But from if you flip this back to a hotel standpoint, historically we looked at things like Google as a responsibility of the marketing department or the entire ecosystem, and Facebook is making its steps in that direction, and others as well. I think that we have to now talking about reclaiming. Definitely, this is since for the user there's no difference between an OTA and some of those media sites. We should look at it the same from a distribution side, from a revenue management side, especially pay per stay and things like converting directly on the different meta searches. These are great opportunities to basically think about them. This is a new generation of OTAs, really, but as they are building themselves, if we can work directly with them as hotels, then we will be in a much better position, to exploit and to make sure we are presenting ourselves in the best way and making the most profitable transaction as we are doing that. The previous disc continues straight from our discussion now on property management. And again, I always like to flip things around, see what consumers are doing. When you look at just before pandemic to what we just had July, as many people were planning their summer getaway, what you saw, these are the trend, the variation in traffic. So you saw Airbnb almost back to their normal, to the pre-pandemic levels of traffic. Expedia struggling heavily, and then even new starts, new entries. That specialists in the rentals here just making the best ever quarters for them, and this reflected here in traffic, but also in sales as well. So specifically in this summer, of course, that was a great point in time for the vacation rental because of the special situation. Mainly three factors. One is the staycation or the domestic aspect of the travel. Second is the desire of the large city population to not stay in the city after they've been locked. And the third is the summer perception that a rental gives me more social distancing. I don't have to interact with staff. I don't have to interact with other guests. So those three things combined probably result in this picture. But this is a moment that the vacation rental really step forward, and they will continue to be a factor from a consumer choice standpoint. But another shift that's really good, as we talked about, okay, there's Google, there's Facebook, there's Amazon. We will probably make a move at some point. But others is really, what are we selling when we want to position our hotel on those platforms? On any sales platforms, really. I think just to what is really our product. So it's been very easy to think of our product as combination of rate plans. I can beat them on this rate or on that rate. And a lot of that, of course, is still remains to be true. I mean, there's a $1 here or there could position you differently on a certain list, and that's important. But at the end of the day, it's also the risk of commoditization. I mean, if the entire hospitality experience that we're so passionate about, in the end, all boils down to a number. That's the definition of commodity. So actually, how do we learn the capabilities of the different go-to-market platforms to make sure we are selling the full experience, and at the same time we are maximizing the revenue because we are selling those additional services that come along with just the bed. And so this is what we believe in. This is our vision. I think, to put it in a nutshell, is nothing should come between hotels and those who sell hotels. We should just have move to having open and direct distribution marketplace in place. And that is essentially HyperGuest. It's a connectivity platform that's a very high scale. At the same time, it's marketplace. So it means that accommodation providers can connect their rates, their availability, their static data, and actually define the rules of the play. That means I don't have to know you, Mr. Travel Agent. These are the rules of the game that I apply, and these are different policies that I want to give different categories of demand sellers. And then any demand seller can come in and say, okay, great, those are the rules of your game. I have a guest and I'm going to sell. I don't have to have pre-contracting. I can just search for my guest's next vacation and book it. Those could be on that side, great partners for the accommodation providers, whether you are agencies and corporations, meta searches, and specialties OTAs. All these places allow me as a hotelier to be direct in all these point of sales without middlemen and with my best real-time rate and availability, no caching or historical errors, my best, most authentic pictures, amenities, etc. And of course, the highest profitability, because again, we have expanded the definition of what is direct selling. This is basically what HyperGuest is about.